Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is August the 18th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1443 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2022 on the Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign living ancient, Article 3, Moorish American Moroccan consular court action. We are the sovereign living justices in captis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. I am sovereign living justice Pauline Denise Ritchie, and my free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bey. Both are in captis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. All Moors are the original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We are the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are Washington District 4, Columbia. We are the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are the first and the primogenitors to all others. And today we are executing the law by our sovereign capacity, which is the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3, living United States District 4 Columbia Liquidation Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, secured creditors, executors, trustees, ministers, claimants, and beneficiaries in this ongoing cause for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby accept our sovereign ascension and exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, not pro tem. First thing on our list, just to bring forth more, is this. Whatever it is that you're preparing for, just think about the last 3 months of your living. Whatever you've been preparing for is what is going to start manifesting for you. And it's important to say that because there are some people who are prepping, quote unquote, and they're getting canned goods together and they're swirling away toilet tissue and things like that. And that means that they're preparing for famine and they're preparing for lack. They're preparing for everything that's opposite of what's happening for us. And I would suggest that you're thinking, that you transform your mind, because this is the time where our wealth manifests right in our hands. It's happening already. We actually have to prepare and put our energy into how are, knowing and planning and strategizing on governing the wealth, because it's already here. It's already manifesting. And as we show that we can handle it, it's going to continue to manifest. I mean, we can all see that if we just take a moment and look. So my suggestion is, please don't plan for famine and lack, because those who do, that's what they're going to get, because we are actually creating our future and manifesting our realities right now. So plan on making some lists on what you're going to do and what strategy you're going to use to manifest your money, your estate, your land. What are you going to do with it? Because the quicker we get those plans and those visions and those provisions written down and begin executing them right away, the sooner they will manifest. So don't take a lack mentality and start swirling away things and all of that stuff. So, and that's our suggestion. Of course, you have to do according to whatever it is your divine urge is telling you. But we in our spirits, we know. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Even when I thought, some years back, if you go back to a while back, we were hearing Moor say that, and we said, okay, if it's important to the Moors, it's important to us, so let's just tell people, put some water away, put you some ramen noodles and all this kind of stuff away. And the ancestors are saying, no, that's not. I tried to do that. Some years back, I had a whole bunch of water that I put out into the garage. I had stacks and stacks of canned goods and noodles and all that stuff, and the ancestors sent the devourer through. And we never had problems with rodents and things like that, but they ran through that stuff and then left.
You serious?
They came, they even put holes in the water bottles and stuff. And I'm like, what? And the ancestor said, that's not what we sent you here to do. It's for you to get ready to go underground. Because you're not going underground. The land is out here. This is ours. And in fact, everyone else is going away so that we can enjoy the fruits of the land. So the energy has to be now put forth to demonstrating who we are, period. And the ancestors are not even taking no for an answer. I know other original indigenous sovereigns who, some of them spent upwards of 10 and 15,000 on stocking stuff away and ended up losing every bit of that, because that's not why the ancestors sent us here. And they admitted that afterwards. They said the whole time the ancestors were saying, I don't know why you're doing that, because y'all got to govern this land. So you're not going anywhere, but other folks are doing what they need to do. They're supposed to be prepping to no longer occupy. So, And that's at our behest.
What in the doohickey is this lady talking about? She's the one that told her Moorish subjects to go stock up on canned goods and water as if some type of atomic bomb was about to hit the country. And now that she feels some of them spend too much money on gathering all of the goods, now she's ridiculing them. This woman needs some serious help.
Like we're doing with the resignation letters. We get to determine whether people are going to be here or not. So why would, the whole earth would get nervous if we all started stacking away stuff and stacking away water and preparing to go underground. They would be like, no, that's not why we're doing that. You all are supposed to be preparing to enjoy, So I just thought I would put that forth first and foremost, because I hear people say, put aside some of this and save you some of that and this and that and this and that. And again, if you want to do that, you're sovereign. No one can stop you. We can't tell sovereigns what to do. But I know that our ancestors sent us here to manifest this vast estate. It is so abundant that, when I think about the water, there's so much water. All you have to do is dig and you'll find water. Clean, clear water. I see it around here all the time. And it's endless water. Fresh from the earth. And it's never going to end. It's never going to go away. There's never going to be a lack of it. We just have to see it and know. So with that being said, our thinking, our minds, and our authority to manifest are on full display. Some people say stack this and stack that. It's already stacked. We have more than we could ever imagine. Something I learned recently about our land, and our prophet told us, but now we actually can apply it in our daily lives. Our prophet said that, when the European goes back to Europe, that the Moors are going to discover mountains of gold. Mountains of gold. Well, I found out recently, and I knew this in my spirit, but I needed the alchemy to prove it. But I found out recently that all mountains are made of ore in varying degrees. Some mountains are 98 or 99 or 100% ore, like iron ore, or they may be 98%. Or on if it's a mountain that's a completely, like in a different place or underwater or something, and then it's made of, 70% ore. But I found out that, all we have to do with ore in order to turn the ore to manifest the gold that's in the ore is mix it with sulfuric acid. And the sulfuric acid will disintegrate all the other metals and things and elements that are in the ore, and it only leaves gold, and the gold will sink to the bottom, and you just scrape the gold up. And you can do that with any mountain, any elements that you pull from the earth. If you want to know if it has gold, just put it in some sulfuric acid. So, the wealth is manifesting. All we have to do is look. It's all around us, and the whole earth knows that. They've been looking at us like, you just drove past a mountain of gold, and it's Mount Rainier, it's Mount St. Helens, it's the Appalachian Mountains, it's, the Adirondacks at New York territory. It's, we have gold everywhere. We have minerals and elements everywhere, not just gold, others, that it's endless amounts. We haven't even looked at the mountains that are underwater. We don't even, so, Moors, we should not be, and this is just a suggestion, we shouldn't be planning for famine and for lack. Because everybody else is like, okay, we did everything that we were supposed to do, Moors, now it's your turn. So they're saying they're going to prep and get their canned goods and their toilet tissue and take it back with them, while we manifest everything else around here. So with that being said, also, I want to say too that there are a few, and I had this conversation with one of our great empresses earlier this week. Many have been printing up the fiduciary money, and for that we are grateful. For those few who are having problems with your printer, check your contracts and make sure that you've terminated all corporate contracts. And make sure that your energy is clear with regard to all that we're doing, and that you don't doubt what's going on. Because if you're feeling like your things aren't working, but you're having problems with your printer, the printer is manifesting it almost manifests what it should.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What in the doohickey is this Moorish woman talking about? So her and her subjects have been printing out the fake DeLorean money. And some of them have been having issues with their printer. So her advice is, check your spirit. What are you talking about? How about just check and see if your printer ran out of ink? And if so, purchase some new ink cartridges. This lady is 100% nuts.
You can't try to jump over to this step when you're not sure about your demonstrations here that lead to all of that. So just a suggestion that if your printer is not acting right with regard to the fiduciary money, and it was the same thing with the DeLorean. There are some whose printer was not quite doing right with the DeLorean, and the 2 or 3 that I spoke to who had that issue, the further we investigated, we found that, they probably have some contracts that they still hadn't quite worked out terminating yet, and things like that. Our ancestors know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And then also with regard to things like that, sometimes you can do it, and then you can take a deep breath, clear your energy, and make sure that your energy is clear, and then try it again, and it will work that next time. So we have complete control over all of the instruments and the hardware, the software, the computers, everything, the wireless, all of that. We have complete control over that stuff. We just have to know that we do, and then clear our energy, make sure that contracts are terminated and all of that. So that way, your system will manifest what it should at your command. And some might not think that has anything to do with it, but it absolutely does. And here's the thing: whenever I hear Moor say, "Well, this, mine is not doing right," I already know in my spirit why. I already know why. The ancestors, because they have not changed. The ancestors are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the energies, they do things to protect us because they know, how to protect us. And so, just something to keep in mind. They're going to protect us either way, But it's best that we learn to connect and stay connected. And our connection to them has never ended. But it's best that we listen to what's being said, even through these instruments that we use. And then take a deep breath, clear the energy, step away from it for a while, go for a walk, go grounding, take your shoes off and go outside and ground, and come back in and watch it work a whole lot better, the next time. With that being said, I want to, speaking of what we're expecting, our expectations and all of that, I want to share with you, I have a trip coming up. And, whenever we call for the test, we never know really what the ancestors have planned. We just know that we're going to be tested because we're calling for the test. We don't even know if it's, we don't know what it's going to turn out to be like. We don't know. But we're going to do the demonstration, and then we'll demonstrate all the way through because there's no stopping in us. So we have it planned to go on a trip, to visit our family, and actually to share the good news of nationality and all that we're doing. So in the interim, when I first thought about the trip, the ancestors said, I had some fear about the trip, and it was programming that was running, and I knew it. And the ancestors said, whatever it is that you have, whatever expectation you have for the trip, that's what's going to manifest. So I said, okay, well, let me prepare for full success. And they said, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. So we've been talking about the fiduciary money. I sent fiduciary money for the trip. I sent fiduciary money for the hotel and everything. So, I'm just going to demonstrate and do what we do because you all know that, that's how we do things. So we were doing the study. And the ancestors had us to gather and put some documents together for the trip and send them ahead of us. So we have sent things ahead of us with regard to our fiduciary document on Moorish government letterhead. We sent copies of our state ID, which is our Moorish state driver's license, because I've shown you my Moorish state driver's license, and I also showed you my Moorish state, my sovereign security number card. And we made those cards ourselves because we're the government and we're the only ones who really can issue documentation to ourselves. So we have our travel card and we have our red ID card, but then we have state level things too. Our federal level Moorish ID cards are the ones that you've seen. It's red in all lowercase letters and in ancient English. That's our national ID. And then we have our state ID, and our state IDs are the states that where we put the constitutions on the public record and then began issuing IDs to ourselves. So I wanted to show you some of the documents that are not on Moorish government letterhead, but that it is our fiduciary duty to notify, because so we have tracking numbers for all of this, and we wanted to show you some of the things that we were inspired to do with regard to the travel that we have planned. And sometimes when we do things like this, we know that we're looking into the future. Okay, so not everyone will be able to travel like this right now, and I'll tell you, I'm doing the demonstration, and we're going to just, know what we know about us and our court actions, and that's what we'll be doing. But for some, this is in the future, just to know that we have a plan and a strategy that we implement, so it shows competence from our perspective that we can govern flying and staying in hotels on our own vast estate without foreign or corporate interference. Okay, so that's why we do a lot of the demonstrations we do, is they're further ahead in the future. The system may not be quite ready for this right now. It may or may not, I don't know, but it's going to have to get ready. So what I did was I drew up some documents because, again, it's our fiduciary duty to minister the estate. And in ministering the estate, we went ahead because, for example, on the screen, it's American Airlines. American Airlines is bankrupt. So as our fiduciary duty, we just took over and we said, okay, we're going to issue our own ticket, our boarding pass, the bill of lading, the land bill of lading, and a flight manifest for us, and then put it through. Okay, through our system, and then notify everyone, all of the custodians in the Office of American Airlines, the custodians in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, and really we kind of like just said, you all are resigned. Okay, but what we did was we went online and we looked at the flights that were available, and then we crafted our own flight document. Okay, and put some things in there about how we wanted to fly and all that. And again, this is for the future. And then we have the constitutionally inferior courts agreement, and it's not their agreement, it is their witness. They are a witness. We don't contract with inferior courts. They just witness the things that we do. And then we sent this out to, let's see, and let me just tell you who all we sent it to. The previous custodians in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, the previous custodians at the hotel, and I'll show you the hotel booking as well. The previous custodians in the Office of American Airlines, the ports, the quote-unquote port, the previous custodians in the Office of Port Authority, Port of Seattle, the airports, the previous custodians in the Office of Airport Directors, we sent copies to them as well. The previous custodians in the Office of TSA, we sent them copies as well. So we're just notifying on both ends of where the travel is, and then notifying all in between that they are former custodians. If you can see right here on this document, former custodians for American Airlines. letting them know that this is what's going on. And then there's also the hotel booking, and we did the same thing, except here we issued fiduciary money. Okay. Whenever we're going through these types of demonstrations, again, we know that this is setting the process in place that we're going to use down the line. When we first introduced the lien process, it took a couple of years before that process really caught on and people could actually see that yes, these liens really do work. In some cases, people saw right from the beginning because we knew from the beginning they were working. But it took some a little longer to know that yes, the lien process does work because we're training. We are training former custodians on our land. We're training them, and then we're also showing each other that we know our system.
So let me get this straight. Because you guys are Moorish American nationals, and because the airline is bankrupt, you booked your own tickets, and you didn't just book your own tickets, you made your own tickets and announced to the airline that your ticket that you made is legit for you to fly, and you announced to the hotel that you're going to be there. So everything free of charge. I tell you what's going to happen. These Moorish fools are going to show up to the airport and they're going to be arrested. You're going to show up with illegitimate plane tickets and TSA is going to arrest you. This lady is insane. I can't believe she actually thinks that this plan is going to work. I hope they filmed themselves going into the airport, because I can 100% guarantee you that, number one, they'll get locked up or they'll just get kicked out of the airport and they won't be going anywhere.
Because the system ultimately belongs to us. So, and again, former custodian, we sent to not to the choice hotel we didn't send it to the one we're going to. We didn't send the payment to the one we're going to, the fiduciary money. We sent it actually to the quote unquote corporate office, is where that went. And then copies of it went to the one that we're going to. Okay. Then we said, okay, let's issue a fiduciary trustee document and put the former custodians, 3 former custodians, Joseph Biden, Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, former custodians, where our fiduciary trustee authority is concerned. Our authority comes from us and not anyone else. But for some of the former custodians, as they look at these things come through and they see these things, they see things that they recognize on here. And when I say recognize, it's not a matter of whether we're valid or not. It's whether they can see or not, whether they can recognize or not. It's a matter of competence on their level, from their perspective, not ours. We know we're competent, and we know we have absolutely the authority to do the things that we're doing. So again, we're setting the system. We're revealing our ancient system. Okay. And then here, Homeland Security, we issued another document with regard to our fiduciary duty and the law, because Homeland Security, this U.S. Department of Homeland Security, is bankrupt. So as the fiduciaries, we had to go ahead and we issued several different clearances. One of the clearances is a top secret clearance. The other is a top secret Q clearance. Q level clearance is the highest level clearance. Is super sensitive clearance. In other words, we can look at any information that comes across because it's our information anyway, even to the point of nuclear weapons, how to make them, and all of that, which we won't need that. But we wanted access to look at all of that. So we issued a Q level security clearance for ourselves. It's our fiduciary duty. We have to do that. And then we also issued a security clearance, and this one is a spiritual one, so there's no writing here for it. And it's not necessarily that we needed it, because we don't need anything, we're God. But we wanted to show competence to ourselves first and foremost. And then also, again, we're revealing the ancient system. So the other security clearance is something called a D5 Majestic security clearance, D5 Majestic. And you may not see anything too much about that one on the internet, maybe. Since we're speaking it may come out more. But D5 Majestic is that's a security clearance where they start talking about, and I can share this with you because my spirit says it's okay to share. D5 Majestic has to do with those who know who we are. They also know that we are not earthly, so to speak. And when I say earthly, they know we're not human like that. They know we have the potential, given, once we create the circumstances that we can do interstellar travel, we can go to other planets, we can go to other places, we can materialize and dematerialize, we can, however, all of our godness is known by those who are D5 Majestic level and above. Most of those that were previously doing business as quote-unquote president, they already know about us. They know that when our bodies come in contact with certain monoatomic elements that we have, that our true abilities come forth. So those security clearances, I issued those to myself, and you all have the authority to issue them to yourselves as well. And then I sent this to them, to the former custodians previously in the Office of Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. If you'll notice, this seal says U.S. Department of Homeland Security, but these blue words just say Homeland Security. Homeland Security is the Moors. You, as Department of Homeland Security, is the corporation that was previously the custodian of all that information. But now we know the information. Here's another something. This is just the initial removal of this former custodian. Okay, whereas the other was the flight plans and things. And then because I'm going to Alabama, which is our Alabama, not the state of Alabama. Okay, like this says right here. This is just removing, again, former custodian. This is what the transition looks like. Okay, this is what the transition looks like. It is, we quit them. And when I say quit them, just say, thank you for your service. Service is no longer needed. And then we move forward. Okay, and we go ahead and take, because all titles belong to the Moors. Did the same thing because we're starting here at Washington and we don't need a corporate anything overseeing anything. So we remove the corporates and former custodian, and then we take our rightful place and do what we know to do. Okay, and again, this is in preparation for me to go from this Washington, that we are the land of Washington, to the land of Alabama. We're not going to any corporate state of anything. We're on the land. So I also today sent copies of, and actually not copies, but originals, stamped and sealed and autographed of the Alabama Constitution to the custodians formerly in the Office of the Department of Homeland Security, so that it's clear that we know where we're going and that we're not in anybody's corporation. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, this is just another information here. Former custodian, because we will be carrying fiduciary money with us. And so acceptance of Federal Reserve notes, fiduciary currency, and this is just us saying, or this is us doing our fiduciary duty and resigning this one, because we are the currency controllers. So we can print, we can regulate, and it says here, chartering, regulation, supervision, banking, financial associations, fiduciary trustee currency printed by the United States fiduciary trustee. And then this also went to the custodians previously in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, because in reality, we're the original Homeland Security Department, or ministry rather. And then Port of Seattle, just one moment, just a moment. Let me put that out of here so that we are not. You better type quick because you're out of here. Oh boy, that's so funny to me. Okay, so now the Port of Seattle, when I started doing my research to find out what custodians were previously there, we saw both the corporate and we saw the republic. So we just dealt with both of them because in reality, everything has to go through the Moors. And Moors, we have a system already in place that will assist with all of this. So these are former custodians from the Port of Seattle. And then we have another, someone who was doing business as a corporate executive director. And so we said, okay, let's go ahead and remove. And then we notified all of the former custodians that they're all removed. And then TSA, that is the Moors. And so we went ahead and notified as well, just so that everyone is aware that we are doing our job. And they all say it has been an honor to serve. And again, as fiduciaries, it's our duties and our responsibilities to marshal the resources and make sure that those resources are used in order to further the empire. So the trip that I'm taking is one where it doesn't matter where I go, I'm going to be talking about nationality, even when I go see my family. And some of you know the story of even at my father's homegoing celebration, the ancestors gave us the right words to say in order to introduce hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of people to their nationality and to who we really are. So anytime I have a platform, no matter if it's 2 people listening or 2 million people listening.
I noticed a lot of your documents. I've seen all of I downloaded, I think it's like a packet of different documents that you had from the fiduciary perspective. Oh, and this is the last thing. You said fiduciary money versus delarium. What is the fiduciary money? Am I missing something on that? Or
yes, you might be. You might be. So delarium is our national currency, and delarium is gold-backed, and not only is it gold-backed, but it is the money that we use when we're doing commerce or merchant actions with natural resources.
Wrong. Wow, you see how she just lied to this Moorish brother? He's asking her about the Moorish delarium, and she's lying to him, telling him that it's gold back. Moorish delarium is nothing other than the fake money that she prints and cuts in her home. It is not real money. It is not backed by gold. Nowhere in this country accepts delarium. So why are you lying to this brother?
Anything that we do with natural resources, like we do sea salt and natural sea minerals, then we only accept delarium for that. Now, the fiduciary money, I'm glad you asked, because I actually need to show you all something with regard to that today. But the fiduciary money is where those who are the debtors don't have the money to pay. So we actually had to create a way for them to pay. And we had to create a way that we would be able to use the systems that are in place to get the things we need. So what did we do? We said, okay, what we're going to do is we studied currency, we studied money, and then we studied fiat. We studied fiat. Because there's a difference between money and fiat. We know the difference between money and fiat. Fiduciary money is where we have to create money that our systems that were incorporated by thieves would recognize. It's our system. Every ATM machine, every machine at the grocery store, all of that comes from our state. So we said, okay, we need to create something, but it has to be printed and created by us in order for it to be valid. Because if it's created by them, it's not valid. So the ancestor said, just one moment, there's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere. Okay, it might be your line. There may be somebody talking behind your line there.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So what we did was the ancestor said, look at U.S. trademark and patent laws and see also. So we studied a bunch of different things and come to find out debt is a counterfeit to credit. Credit is a counterfeit to debt. And when we say counterfeit, those are two separate words. They're not together. So the ancestor said you need to counter or rebut the fiat. So then we looked at U.S. trademark and patent. That's because we lean that office, so all of the resources there belong to us, but we have to make them uncorrupt. So we don't use fiat the way it is. What we do is we take an image of the fiat, and then we take that image and copy and paste it onto a document, a Word document, or a blank document. And then we print that out, and then we destroy the fiat that was created by the foreigners. And that's your fiduciary money. There are no trademark or patents on fiat. That's number one. So but even if it was, we have that too because we lean the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office. And then again, they cannot pay us what they owe. So we must create a way. But we can't use their fake fiat. So we're not going to use it. We're burning the fiat, which is going to mess with the programming. But that's okay because we're up to that. And then we create our own and we say, okay, now we will give you this. Because as fiduciaries, according to federal laws or bankruptcy procedure, the fiduciaries have the right to create remedy from whatever resources on their land. So the fiduciary money looks exactly like fiat, except it's not fiat. So what we're doing is taking the debt out of circulation and then putting an instrument in circulation that we created. So that's what money is. And go ahead. Wait a minute, Empress. Go ahead, Billy. I want to make sure he's on.
Yeah, I never saw a copy of what that looked like. I think it's like I'm kind of locked out of it kicked me out of the meeting, so I can still hear you. But it won't show me any of your visual. So I didn't know if you put that up. So I plan on putting it up anyway. I am going to put it up. In fact, let me run and grab what I need to grab because I was going to do a demonstration tonight on this call right now that I needed to do anyway. But go ahead, Empress.
Islam. I just want to share a testimony about how yesterday I went to Chipotle and they said that they were not accepting any cash because they had no fiat to give change for. They were only accepting cards. Only if you had exact change could you give fiat. And I was like, they have no fiat to give change? And then I was like, duh, because their fiat sources are depleting and depleted. So that just is another proof of evidence that they're over Islam.
It's a shame because these Moorish sovereign citizens that follow Light Tajiri Bey, they are clearly not intelligent. They actually believe the nonsense that she's saying. She's pretty much telling these people to commit crimes. She's about to show the quote-unquote fiat that she's photocopying and trying to use in the real world. Granted, I know she's not dumb enough to actually do the things that she's saying, but her listeners will actually listen to what she's saying and then go out and apply this stuff in the real world. And it's quite a shame because she is leading these people straight to a jail cell.
Yes, it's a wrap on all of that. It's a wrap on the fiat piece. We can. This is what fiduciary money looks like. I'm not sure if you can see, but it looks just like fiat. Okay. Now,
let me go in back in.
Oh, well.
I can hear you, but it won't let me get back into the meeting.
Okay. Well, I'll show it, and then yeah, I'll show it on the screen, and then what you can do is this is the. Can you all see on the screen? This is the original that I made these from. Okay. This is the original. Now, some may disagree with what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it anyway because the ancestors have made it clear to me that if I just get something started, that they will do whatever else needs to be done in order to manifest our intention. And so I'm going to take this original, we're right here, and I am going to
Are you going to burn it?
I am.
Islam.
I am. You know why I need to fix, to make sure my programming is okay too. While we're going through these things, I'm being raised and risen to my sovereign power just like all of us are. And I want to be sure that while I'm doing, in fact, let me just, yeah, okay. Okay. So, I am working through the programming as well for myself, and I can sense in my spirit that once I do this, okay, that it's going to set some things in motion that need to be set in motion with regard to our vast estate, this land, and everything that has to do with us. So I wanted to share it with you all while I do it, just because it is the beginning. It's the beginning of something that needed to happen on our land a long time ago, really. And we have been talking, getting rid of this stuff on this land for a long time. Just one moment. There is, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but also, like, you feel like they catch.
Just one moment. Okay. So, can you all hear me? I just want to be sure you can hear me because there was some noise coming from somewhere. Yep. Okay. So, these are the ones that I made those are the serial numbers. These are the actual fiat notes that I made my fiduciary money with. And I want to take this debt, because this is debt. I want to take this debt out of circulation because I'm going to take my fiduciary money with me. Can you all see what I'm doing here?
Yep.
Okay. Everyone can, yeah, they can, it's showing. Okay.
Clear.
Okay. So I want to take this debt because this is debt. This is not real money.
You're retarded.
And I want to take it out of circulation. And this is also a ritual and a ceremony and a celebration for us because we know we can. And so I'm going to go ahead and light these on fire as we celebrate the removal of debt from our land, because our suffering goes away when we do this. So I am going to do it. Because I had some, there was some programming in my mind about it, but I knew I was going to get past the programming because I'm like,
Islam, Ashe. Ashe.
Yes, Islam. Slavery goes away. Our heirs don't have to do without. We don't have to do without. We're honoring our ancestors when we get the debt out of circulation. We must get the debt out of circulation. It has to leave. And in the interim, but see, we couldn't do that until we provided a remedy for it. And we have the remedy. It's our own creation. So this is the first time in my since I've been in this manifestation that I've ever done anything like that. In terms of physically just like lighting it on fire. But you know what? I have seen other people in other places do it. You've seen videos. If you go out on YouTube and you see, and you put in money to burn, you'll see people burning, but they're always burning that. They're never burning any other type. And I'm like, they know something that we don't know then, obviously, or something that we did not know previously or thought we didn't know. So thank you for sharing this moment with me. I have never done anything like that before, but I'm actually, now that it's done, I'm actually looking forward to doing it some more, which means I have to create some more fiduciary money. And as you get Justice Raymond, everyone else can see. Is there anyone else who can't see? If you're looking at it, can you see? Yeah, I think everyone can see. So the more we do this, Islam.
I'm sorry, Raymond Bell here. What I was trying to say was my video was disabled when I made the comment that I couldn't see what was going on.
Oh, okay.
So I just realized that it was disabled, and so I enabled it. Now I see your fireplace and you. So
yes.
I just didn't see what happened.
Islam. It just burned like it was supposed to.
Islam, I was getting ready to say that, Empress. I was literally thinking that exactly as you said it. About how fast that energy went gone. Like, It was like without a trace, done.
Yeah. Yes. Can you imagine what our ancestors must be saying and doing in the spirit realm, though? That's the part I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about Yes. Think about what our parents went through for that. And look how fast it burned. And we can create as much as we want of our own. It has to be our creation, not theirs.
Islam.
So,
wow.
Yes. And you know what? Here's the thing. Yes, 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 it is. Islam. Our heirs have to do without. So I was just thinking, I'm looking forward to doing that again, by the way. So I guess I'll have to create some more credit so that I can start doing that more often. But I'll tell you that even, before, as I was leading up to doing this demonstration, that programming was fighting so hard. But, just one moment. There's a little bit of an echo coming from somewhere. The programming was fighting so, I could feel it. It was almost, let me just describe it to you. It was almost a physical pulling of don't do that. And that's how I knew I needed to do it. Because physically, I could feel something say, don't do that. What if you need it? No, we're not doing that. No, because see, we know that's the wrong kind of language in the first place. The guys don't need anything but each other, period. So I knew that was programming speaking. So, Moors, we got this. It's a wrap. And one thing that I will say about this too, I had a little bit of reservation. I had a little bit. It's not there anymore. Just with this demonstration, I had a little bit of a reservation taking my fiduciary money on this trip because we know how things, how they used to do, and they used to show us in movies where someone would go through the airport with this big wad of money and they would get in trouble for having a big wad of money or what we thought was money. Well, now that I've done this on the public record, I'm not worried. That programming went away because it's on the public record that what I'm carrying is not theirs. It's ours. It's public money, not their private military script.
Islam is the people's money.
It is. Why? Because the people make it. And that's really how this was supposed to be in the first place. This is how this was supposed to work in the first place. So now I'm looking forward to the other demonstrations. I can get whatever I need in terms of ink. I can get the supplies and whatever else we need, we can get it now. All we have to do is do the demonstration and then do a letter from the president and the former custodian of the president saying that you're the fiduciary trustee and you're here to liquidate. And then when you're here to liquidate, it's not going to mess their tills up because you don't want to mess up the register, right? So it's not going to mess their register up because they'll be able to see. Justice Akil, I see that. Justice Akil said that someone, and I won't mention his appellation, but he didn't know that he wasn't black either. Because in all his interviews that we saw on television, he used to say he was black, a black man this and a black man that. And I know that's why they felt like they needed to get rid of him. Anybody who's been talking about any type of freedom, when you say that you're black, you just put a target on your head. Because blacks cannot own anything. They don't have any rights and none of that. And we're not black. We are the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. And that's what we're proving. That stuff was pretending to be commerce when it's not commerce. So, because it wasn't produced by the people, it was produced by a corpse. So, I'm excited for us, and I'm looking forward to all that the ancestors have for us, and I'm ready to do my demonstration too. I know that the demonstration is, I know how the ancestors work. I'm learning even more every day about how they operate. Where when they show us something, sometimes it's they show it to us now, and then they want us to perfect it so that we can use it, and no one has to worry about a POW demonstration or anything like that. And most of us don't have to worry about that anyway. There's some of us who jump right on the head because we're not worried about it. I'm one of those that I'll demonstrate and not even worry about a POW demonstration because I ain't gonna do nothing but a court action anyway. Period. No second to it. I see that Luke 9:3. That's good. It depends on where you are on the timeline also, because there will come a time when we won't need to do any of that. And some days come when we don't need to do that. Like when we go out to do grounding, we don't need to take any of that stuff. We just go. We don't even wear shoes. We just go out and go ground. My journey and part of my spell casting and spell breaking had everything to do with the fiat piece. I specifically came here to deal with that piece because that piece it was so strong for our people. The fiat piece. I mean, you could get some of the toughest Moors who really knew the law, and that's the only place where they said, I can't go any further because I got to have something. And for us, we came here to break that spell specifically. Islam.
And so I shared that scripture is because he was breaking the program.
Yes.
And so that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he put that energy out there, and then you go, you
mm-hmm.
go and follow the energy that you're putting out there and make it manifest. But you can't do it if you wouldn't have burnt that 100. You can't do it unless you burn it, and put that energy out there and break that programming. Islam. That's what the scripture was for.
Yes. Empress, we stated about a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago that we were going to, that at some point, and when I said it knowing in my spirit that it was going to manifest. I just didn't know how it was going to manifest, but I knew it had to come, because we said it was going to have to happen through us. But we said we were going to burn the fiat. We said we were going to burn it at some point. And today is as good a day as any, if you ask me. Because I think about, like what Justice Akil put in there about the sovereign who didn't know he was a Moor, who was arrested for carrying large sums of money. That one that he put in the chat had answers to a lot of stuff with us health-wise. But they actually got rid of him, if you ask me. They get rid of a lot of the Moors who have the answers. They're divinely inspired, but they think they're black, and they go on public record saying, I'm black. And if they keep doing that, then the answers cannot continue to come through them. And that's why it's so important for us to know that we're Moors, we're not black. So that as the ancestors give us, because blacks cannot do that without fear of jail or whatever. Blacks cannot do that. And that's another reason why we say, make sure that you terminate all corporate contracts and things like that as we move through these next, this is like, we already know that there are one or two spells, that once those one or two spells are broken, which they are, that everything else is a given. It's a piece of cake for our nation and for our people, And to me, that was it. Because, people are strong until it comes to that sometimes, So, yeah.
It's our biggest stronghold.
It was previously. I'm going to put that in the past tense, just because of this. I know how powerful you are as a spell caster, spell breaker, matriarch. Yeah.
It was one of our biggest strongholds.
But we pull down strongholds. That's scriptural. We pull them down. Let's pull them down. I got goosebumps just thinking now about when is the next time I can switch some more of that out. Because that's all we're going to be doing is switching out. Hand somebody a fiduciary currency of 100 for something that costs 75 cents. So you can pull all that fiat and just burn that and create some more credit. I'm ready for that. So, nobody can mistake what we have for fiat because it's not fiat. That's what I love about this. Islam nobility.
One of the notes, how many times can you print it?
A trillion.
Okay, Islam.
And my thing is, once I made one or two copies and put it out there, I can get rid of that one. I can get rid of the fake and keep dealing with the real money.
Islam.
And repeat. The same way they did the stock market. They would take one mortgage contract and create 1,000 derivatives from it. They got that from us, being able to do what we're doing now. So, yeah.
Islam?
Islam, Empress.
Yes, part of me I sort of hesitate to share this, but I won't share the name. There's a name. This particular person put out an article this week. They were an attorney, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they said that the people of Africa have been freed.
Yes.
I know that they were our enemy,
yes,
but don't be afraid. So it is being recognized that those of us of that heritage have been freed.
Yes.
It's not only us who knows that. We know it ourselves first, but they are recognizing that too and telling their own this is done.
Yes.
Islam, I yield.
And it's because we speak peace on the public record. And not only are we speaking peace, we're demonstrating peace. We're not angry at them. We know they had to do what they did because we said do this and do this and do this. They were just doing their job. That's all. And we're doing ours,
They watch everything that we do. That's another reason why I say don't believe the numbers. Don't believe them, because they all can see what we're doing, all of them. I can feel them in my spirit watching. That's how I know they're there. Yes, we're free. Permanently, forever. And we will never go back. Never go back, ever. And that's why I said what I said, too, about at the beginning of the call. Prepare for the wealth. Prepare for abundance. Cups overflowing to where you don't even have room enough to receive all that's coming. It's really already here. Prepare for it. Strategize on what you're going to do with 30 buildings. Strategize with what you're going to do with whatever it is that you see for yourself. Because you're going to have it over and over and over and over and over. Everything that you lost or that you thought you lost, domiciles, conveyances, all of that, you're going to get it back 70 times 7 and 70 more. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, the ancestors gave me a glimpse into that not too long. And every now and then they'll give me a glimpse into it where I literally feel and know that there are multiple of anything that I could ever see myself with in terms of, properties or whatever. And they say, get ready for that because it's really already here. Get ready for it. And don't let anything, and they know nothing stops us. They know that. They know we're set. Nothing stops us. And, because our heirs are worth it. We're worth it. I mean, look at what all we've been through, Moors. We deserve this. Yeah, we do. So, they keep, every now and then I get a glimpse into where we're going. And it's indescribable almost. It's indescribable almost. And things like fiat and things like that are going to be, we're going to wonder why we even worry. I'm wondering that now, but that's only because the ancestors keep, every now and then they pull back the curtain and say, look. And I know they're doing that with you all too, because, they deal with all of us pretty much the same from one moment to the next, so I'm excited for us. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom, demonstrations? Did I tell you all about, I think I may have told you about the energy that is on some of the policy enforcers?
No, I haven't heard it.
I didn't tell you. Okay. So this is for those who've been doing demonstrations where you did a demonstration and policy enforcers came and all of a sudden you felt fear that was not there before. I was in this grocery store probably about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks to a month, something like that. And I just happened to go down an aisle, and then a policy enforcer came in behind me, and he was on the same aisle, just I guess looking at whatever he was looking at, whatever he was, he pulled something off the aisle. But and I wasn't worried about it because I don't, I know who I am, and the spirits know. So I went on about my business through the store, but as I left and was going on about my business, a fear started to creep up on me. I could feel it coming. I could even see it from a long way off coming. It was strange because I was like, where did that come from? The ancestors told me then that policy enforcers have an energy, and it's either in their gear that they wear, or it's in their spirit. It's a fear energy that, like, I'm not afraid of policy enforcers. I'm not. So I was wondering, where was that fear coming from? It got stronger and stronger as I walked through the store. And I was like, it was just weird because my thoughts were not on fear. So I knew that it was some programming or something, or either the ancestors wanted to show me something. And sure enough, the ancestors pointed to the thought, the feeling, because the feeling didn't match my thoughts. Because in my thought process, I was not afraid at all. I didn't even think twice about him being there. It's only after I felt that energy that I said, where in the world is this coming from? I'm just walking through the store. But the ancestors told me that there's something either in their clothing or their energy that causes that fear to come upon us when we're dealing with them, or when we see them going down the street, and they're going one way and we're going another way. Everybody's just going about their way. But there's something in our energy and in the programming that was put there. So the ancestors are telling me to notice it so that I know how to deal with it. And once they pointed out that the feelings didn't match my spirit, because my spirit wasn't scared, my mind wasn't scared, it was a feeling that I felt, physically. And the ancestors said, okay, now just do a little energy work and it'll go away. So I stood in the store in the aisle for just about maybe 5 seconds. I closed my eyes and did the energy work of seeing that energy leave. And it was like it never happened. But the ancestors told me that there's something in either their clothing or a directed energy weapon, because some may have heard of directed energy weapons or something. And to me, it's not a weapon. It's just I know that it's a part of the psychological operations that we talk about simply because I was having this conversation with one of the empresses the other day. We know that it's psychological operations because how can there be so many of us who did absolutely nothing when they were shooting people down in the street? We still just sat at home. We were under a spell or either some energy, or we thought we were under a spell. We could ascend to it or something. I don't know. But I just know that no one has the authority to do that without our permission. But the energy went away very quickly. So I know the ancestors are preparing me to they've been preparing me in terms of energy, dealing with energies. And so energetically, not that there's going to be any face-to-face confrontations of any kind like that, because we don't do that. We're not at war on our land. But energetically, just dealing with the energies. We know that people cast spells. We know that of all the spells, policy enforcers and fake fiat are the two spells that just really, we as a people, we had to break those spells. We really had to break those spells. And where we're going, in this grand rising, those spells cannot come with us. Those energies cannot come with us where we're going. They don't even belong. And they won't come with us. That's the thing. So it behooves us to go ahead and work through those energies so that we don't have to have them tested out of us. So I just wanted to put that forth. It's nothing to be afraid of because we're more powerful than any energies. We just have to make sure we're doing the energy work. And the energy work is just a matter of us close our eyes, think, energy be gone, and then the energy is gone. So I just wanted to bring that forth because it was just such a weird experience, but it answered the question for me that I had briefly with the ancestors. They're actually getting rid of the rest of the programming from the question I asked them in the beginning. The question that I asked them in 2017 when I first woke up was, how do we get past them, fake judges and fake policy enforcers? Because that's some programming right there that we needed to get past. Well, they've shown us how to get past that. Now that little bit of something there was just the fear that comes with them. That's something that, I was just wondering if they know that that's coming off of them, which I'm sure they do. Because it's a mechanism by which to control people who otherwise they wouldn't be able to control. So I know they know that that's coming off of them, that there's an energy that comes with them that is almost disabling to people if you don't know what you're looking at and dealing with. But it won't disable the heirs, and that's the thing about where we are now. We've crossed over. So it's already done. It's a wrap. And that's why now all of that talk about defunding and all of that stuff, they can't even come where we're going. They're not going to be able to be on this land with all of that abundance and all of that. There'll be no need, But the ancestors wanted to point out for me the last little vestiges that were there and wanted me to get rid of them because we need to, because those energies can't come with us. This is a new era. This is our time. Islam members.
Well, it just dawned on me that you needed to have that realization before you traveled out of your piece of comfort of your estate and traveled abroad to the other country of Alabama, because that is another country over there. And so that part. And then also the energy is created from the four-wall building of the court where the summons were being created. And their whole, summoning, they were summoning the spell. Remember when they issued tickets and all those different things, and the judges are wearing the robes and all those different things? That's where the energy was coming from, because they don't have any authority to do anything other than those buildings that they were doing the trafficking and the kidnapping and all those other things. That's where it comes from. Because they get their uniforms from there. They would get their corporate authorities from those quote unquote fictitious magistrates to go out and cast those nets to bring them those bodies into their chambers and do those rituals. So those policies were nothing but an extension of those rituals. They were like the Walking Dead zombies doing the bidding of the ones behind the ropes.
Empress, the thing that fixed the programming with regard to that is me printing out the Alabama Constitution and sending it to the former custodians that were previously in the Office of Homeland Security, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Because now I know where I'm going, and I know they can't come.
Yep.
And same thing with the Constitution for Washington. I printed that out, and we placed that one on the public record, and I want to get the link to the constitutions also, Maures, while we're here, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I posted it on social media today. It was the link to all of the constitutions, because someone had asked about that recently.
Islam. Did we send you our termination of resignation letters also that we do for, like, because I know I've done for Schenectady, for the wannabe mayors of those locations and such. Should we send you those as well?
No, you don't have to send them. Put them on the public record, and then if we need to see them, you'll be able to point to where they are.
Islam, okay.
Yeah, so let me click on this and grab these constitutions from Google Drive. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to get it off of here. Let's see. I probably need to grab mine. Okay. I'm going to put the link in here. Okay, so it's not going to get that link to me, but I'm going to get it anyways. Just one moment. Just one moment. Let me get that for you. There it is. Meets and bounds. Just one moment. Get the link. And this has the majority of the constitutions that I received, but it may not have exactly all of them. Like the most recent ones, it probably won't have the most recent ones that I got in my email. So if you notice one that it has that's not there, or if you know you sent one that's not there, let me know, and I'll go back through my email and pull it. Okay, so there it is in the chat. The link to the Constitution so far that we've received. And before you go travel anywhere more, that we're manifesting the travel piece using our fiduciary money, make sure that you put the Constitution. And there's actually one of the Constitutions that I need to send to them, to the custodians previously in the Office of Homeland Security. And I have a stopover at Dallas, Texas territory. And so I'm going to send the Texas Constitution also. So with that being said, fiat has no place at ancient Morocco. I mean, think about the realness of everything that's on our land. Real gold, real silver, real land, real beings, not fictions, real beings, natural people and natural persons, that we use as tools. Fiat has no place on our land, so it's up to us to switch it out. Switch it out. So before you do any demonstrations with your fiduciary money, make sure you have done the thing of burning the old, so that there are not two instruments pretending to be the real one, because the other stuff was pretending to be a real instrument when it's not. So are there any other questions, comments, wisdom, or anything of that nature? Thank you for being here.
Islam. The travel documents had done earlier. Now they're on your Facebook. If you click on them, it says access denied. I don't know if that's my end or I've never had any access denied with Google.
Okay, Empress, whenever something like that happens, just take a deep breath, clear your energy. And I'm not saying that your energy is not clear. I'm saying sometimes we actually have to, and I have to do it all the time myself, is just take a deep breath, clear. And when I clear, it works. Whatever it was I was trying to do before works. And see, I don't even know who put this on restricted. It was on, anyone with the link can see it. Try now, Empress, and see.
All right, hold on.
It should work. I always put it on having it so that everyone can see what's there.
Bing, boom, boom.
There it is. And I'm putting the link to those documents in the chat also for those who want to see those documents. I believe Justice Sharif, you were asking about those documents also, so you can take a look at them there and then recreate them for yourselves. For whatever it is that you're doing. What we're doing now also, Maures, is letting our systems know what's coming. That's really what this demonstration is all about, is letting our systems know what's coming. Now, something very important that the ancestors wanted me to bring up is Maures, prepare not just for our wealth, but for that other thing to close down. And it's going to close down at our word. Okay? Our word, in order to make everything else close down, and this might scare some because of the programming, but it won't be a bad thing because we have remedy. But I'm just saying in the event that we want to expedite and go ahead and start and do what needs to be done. At some point or at any point, we can say on the public record that everyone is resigned, and not just resigned, but removed, and that we will do everything ourselves on the land. Because that's what all of this is about. Is we don't need corporates running things for us when we can run them ourselves. We know how to run the land. We know how to get we know what entities or parts of the system to speak to when we want to travel, because we know all of the inner workings and the mechanisms. We know the banking mechanisms. We know the money mechanisms. We know the natural resource mechanisms. In other words, if we want to do something, or when we want to do something, do we know all of the moving parts of that process in order to make whatever it is manifest? Okay. So that is Islam, Justice Morpheus. I'm going to look at, I'll look those up and put them in that same folder. Okay. And that's really where we are right now, is making sure that when we want to access some benefit on our estate, can we access that benefit and not miss any of the parts? We know that when we travel, we access the Homeland Security piece and speak to that piece so that that piece will do as commanded. We also know that we speak to the airport and the airlines and the the TSA and all of that. We speak to those parts on our vast estate, and then we access, and then we move forth and access. We tell it what to do, we regulate it, and then we move. So that's what we're doing right now. Whether now is a good time for me to take that trip and demonstrate my status or not, I'm not gonna worry about that, because to me now is as good a time as any. So because they're supposed to know what to do, and we know what to do. We've already done it. We spoke to everyone. So as you look at the processes that you're doing and the parts of the estate that you want to access, just ensure that you look at all the steps for that, and then just speak to those parts. That's how all of this is done. And when we speak to all of the parts, see, what has happened in the past is the parts that we didn't speak to wanted us to know they were there. Those parts were there. So, for example, when we wanted to demonstrate Moorish tags on our conveyances, let's go back to that, because we perfected that process at this point. But back then, we didn't know, back in 2017, we didn't know that we needed to speak to the insurance part of our estate, that we needed to speak to the DMV part of the estate, the clerk, county clerk part of our estate, the commercial part of our estate. We needed to speak to all of those parts in order to effectively demonstrate the right to travel. And that's what all of this is about, is if we miss a part that we're supposed to speak to, that part is going to step forward. And generally when they step forward, it's something we weren't expecting because we thought we got everything, right? That's in the past. But now we see all of the inner workings of the vast estate. So as you're considering your next demonstration, do a study on the moving parts. and then just send an affidavit that addresses that part. For example, even with the right to travel, it was a good idea for us to look at the codes and statutes where insurance was concerned, or the codes and statutes where, just look at them so that if there's anything we need to speak to in there, we could speak to it. And that's what all of this is all about. The test with policy enforcers and state jails and all that was just something that says, look at this because in your demonstration you didn't look at this part, or this part needs to be perfected. When we did our POW demonstration, our court actions were being perfected and added to. All rise and stand came in on that last POW demonstration, and there are some Moors who are dealing with the inferior courts so that they perfect their inferior court action so that they can elevate it to a level that is ready for the Moors, because the Moors, our jurisdiction is the highest jurisdiction, so keep those things in mind as you're preparing your demonstrations, and just, be as competent in terms of speaking to every part of your state, because our state is vast. It's vast, and there's so much that's available to us that regulating it is going to be important. That's what we're learning, not learning, but remembering in our erudition, is how to continue to regulate what goes on our vast estate. So with that being said, we're just trying to, and we're not trying, we're actually doing it, covering all bases. Where travel is concerned, we have to address the money part. And when I say money, we know we are the only ones with real money. We have to address Homeland Security because we're Homeland Security and we must be secure at all times on our homeland. So we have to speak to that part. We have to speak to, the part of our state that is airports and airlines and things of that. Islam members.
I don't know if you're going to need to, quote unquote, access a vehicle or conveyance while you're out there. Did you cover that piece yet?
I did not. I thought about it, but I'm not going to be there long enough to do that. And I have so many that that can assist with that while I'm out there that I didn't think about it, but I probably should have. I probably couldn't. I still have time because the trip is not for another 2.5 weeks.
All right.
Yeah. So, I could look at that. I thought about it, but I said, let me make sure I cover all my bases on the flight and the hotel first. And then, and then I'll add something to it if I have time to add anything to it. And every day that goes by, the ancestors seem like they're having me look at more and more things with regard to that. So we're just listening, and whatever, we're open to whatever it is that they say. We know that what they're giving us is in its, it's in a particular part of the stage of the whole precept. Empress Shatali has information on Moore's tags, Empress Rose. So you might be able to speak with Empress Shatali about that. With that being said, I meant to bring up the employment piece because we still have not talked about that piece. But one of the Moors put out a really good video on that piece about how we can go to the next steps of our CEO responsibilities and things. And so we will talk about that next time. I didn't think about it this time, but we need to discuss what the Moor showed about. In fact, I would like to put that video in the chat so maybe we can look at it and then discuss it the next time we meet. And that way you can look at it beforehand. I don't think it's that long of a video. I'm gonna have to look back and see. Empress Shatali, can you find that video of that Moor? He did a great job on that one video, and I would have to go back and look and see where that video is, because
what was the video?
It was the one that he did about the jobs, remember?
Yeah.
About how we can separate ourselves in the documentation and the paperwork, yeah, so that we can pay ourselves the way that we need to pay ourselves during this transition. Let me see if I can find it too.
It's long because every one of us on this conference call is doing government work.
Is doing whatever?
Government work. Oh, every one of us.
Yes. And what this brother put forward, there it is in the chat, I believe. Let me see. Empress Shatali, this copy. Let me see, maybe if I can put it on the screen, because this brother did a great job on that particular. Yeah, this is it. The Illinois Wage Payment and Collection Act. You need to hear that, because now that we have our own money and we can pay ourselves, we can literally go into the buildings and work and be paid for the work that we do, but we have to pay ourselves because we're paying ourselves in lawful money. And this video that this brother did pointed out how we do that, which to me was just timely. Our ancestors know exactly what they're doing. Thank you, Empress Shatali. That's a beautiful video, because when we put what he's talking about there with everything that we're doing, we can start working right now, really, and not start working because we've been working the whole time, like you said, Empress. We've been doing the work. We just need to figure out how to pay ourselves instead of having to go to foreign. We're not going back. And then as we pay ourselves, we're just doing everything in honor, because when the ancestors, even as I was watching that video, we know that even though it says Illinois, and this is the beauty of it, it does not say state of Illinois. It says Illinois. So we can take what's in the video and make it uncorruptible so that we can use it as a nation. Go ahead, Mobility.
Yeah. Well, since you have already watched it, do you think he's also explaining how you can, once you pay yourself, you can spend it out in circulation?
Yes, because, well, the credit system, we have really already taken the credit system, but that whole banking system is waiting for us to just do this part right here. And then, listen, Nobility, we're going to continue to remove. Did you know that at any time we could put together the documentation to remove everybody from any bank, and then we go in and start using the instruments?
I was waiting to hear that part.
Yeah.
The demonstration I've already done is essentially leading to that point in that part.
Yes, but the only reason that I have not put any emphasis on that is because I don't want anybody to go out of anger or the wrong energy and get themselves into any situation. That's something that we do, level-headed, thinking clearly, and working by the Spirit, and letting the Spirit lead us in that. Because it's not supposed to be a war energy. We actually have to do things the right way, and some will we know some will move forward, if they're thinking resources. And the ancestors want us to be wise as we move forward. They want us to be wise and peaceful, and it will be to the point where there's no resistance to what we're doing. And that's the only reason I haven't said anything about that sooner, is because, I know what we have the authority to do, but I am not going to rush out there. I'm going to wait for the ancestors to give us the information and the steps like they've been doing. They've been giving us everything we need to stay safe, to stay free, and to prosper. And I want that to continue. Yes, Justice Malik, Chapter 3 of the Act of Algeciras. We actually have to put that whole act into law. Now, Justice Malik, the Moor that I counsel with, because he's banking superior when it comes to that whole system. There's nothing about the system he doesn't know. He is an avid studier, and he's been looking at the Act of Algeciras only for like the last 4 months. Act of Algeciras only, because it's so thorough and complete that all we have to do is elevate it and make it the law, and everything else is there already. And then you put that with the money, and put the money with the Illinois Act that we just showed. What did he say? What did that guy say? The Illinois Wage Payment and Collection Act. When you put all of that together, we actually have everything we need in order to economically prosper. Economically, we can pay ourselves. And the ancestors are already showing us how to access the banks and things like that. We know how to do it, but I'm not going to, I don't feel comfortable jumping out there in front of the ancestor energies. We know that they show us things that are further in the future. We know that. And so we want to make sure that as we move forward, that number one, we don't leave anybody behind. And number two, that as we move forward, that energetically everything is peaceful, and that we have no, and number three, that everyone can access whatever it is, or we can assist them in accessing whatever we need to access. But it starts with, more talk about the banking piece, but they don't want to burn fiat. We all have to come on over. Sometimes people want to go ahead on the banking piece, but they haven't done the deprogramming and other stuff. Islam nobility.
We all got to do the demonstration live.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be funny? Because you know why? Because whenever they started burning books, they were burning our books, and everybody was doing that live. So I'm like, why not? Why not? And just say I printed my own. I printed the real money. We don't burn the fake. Do you know how, like, you talk about putting the pyramids back on the right side in our minds? For me, that's what that is. It's putting the pyramid back where it belongs, on the side that it belongs. Knowing that we can print the real money and that what we've been getting is fake. So yeah. Why not, Justice Akil? You don't want to do it
live? I'm going to demonstrate on to the level of my understanding.
He said, no, not now. We get it, Justice Akil. We get it, for sure. We got that one. We got it. Islam, Justice Akil.
I am going to be doing that live. I'm going to do where I collect, show them I collect, print, and then burn.
Yes.
Real soon.
Listen, Empress Chatali, she put it in the chat. We're confiscating. Remember when they supposedly confiscated all the gold back in 33? We have begun the process of confiscating that debt off of our land, just like we said a year ago. Yep. And you know what? At any point, more than now that I'm thinking about it, we can tell people, okay, if you bring that stuff to us and put it here in this fire, we'll give you this that we're printing, and you use this because it's the real money, and that other stuff is fake.
Sounds like a plan to me, honey.
We got to take it out of circulation on this level, because this is the everyday level. This is the only place that anybody is even using that stuff. So, I would like to put that on the table for discussion, for us to discuss that and see how we can implement that, where we just tell them, whatever you bring us, we will issue you this. And guess what? The stores and all of that, we'll take it, because we don't let them know they got to take it too.
That goes back to the conversation we had about, I mentioned to you about the offices, the buildings that we have already taken over, essentially, and printing it from, like, the offices of what the clerk was doing business in, and the mayors were doing, like, those places, and printing it and then handing it out to people and saying, take this. And those are where the banks were really anyway, so it does make sense to have that be taking place there anyway.
Yeah. If they bring that in, and then we give them our version, because our version is the real version. And the thing is, each one of those has a number on it. We will know where they got it from by the number on it, because we know what we issued.
Islam, and that's where the counting and the records come in.
That's it. So let's keep putting that energy in. Listen, I knew once we took the step to at least start the confiscation and burning process, that the ancestors will give us more information about how to manifest that. And that's why I'm saying more, do not plan for lack, plan for abundance, because it's already here. And as we take one step towards abundance, the ancestors just manifest and bring that abundance through even more so. So, yeah. Let's keep having that discussion. I'm liking where this is going. Empress Chatali says trade it in for gold. Now, the ancestors showed me how to make the gold happen real fast. I posted it on social media and talked about it briefly at the beginning of this call. So, the gold can manifest real quick. That's not even an issue anymore, really, from what I'm seeing. But of course, I'm going to do the lab work, the alchemy, and make that happen, make that manifest. And then people can do whatever they're going to do, and we give them gold, or we at least back it by, have the gold physically in our hands. Right now, our money is backed by gold that's on the land that we know is there.
Yes, and that's what I meant. I mean, when they are spending in the fiat, they are getting our money that's backed by gold.
Yes. And they can bring however much fiat they want to bring, because we can always create more gold, and we can always create more fiduciary money and dolarium. So no matter how much they bring,
We got
We still got it. We still got it. Because the people are the bank anyway, though, really. Yes, Islam.
So are citizens able to use the fiduciary money? If so, how? Like if someone was to receive a $50 fiduciary,
they can use it the same way they use that fake stuff. They can use it the exact same way.
But
Now,
like I guess
they can't print it. Citizens cannot print fiduciary money because they're not the fiduciaries and they're not the Federal Reserve. They can get it from us though. Yeah, and we give it to anybody anything. The same way banks do.
Exactly, but to be they could not go to a convenience custodian convenience store and
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And they don't have to worry about quantities because there's always more. We're going to fund everything.
So would that security be shown from the sovereign account some sort of way, something like that? Is that how that system works?
So, well, for example, anybody who gets fiduciary money from me, I will know that they got it from me because I can look at the serial number on the money they're using. So I know that came from me. And that's, again, we put it out there for the heirs to print and use, and then for citizens, as it comes around, the citizens can use it too.
Okay, so I was thinking about this work. So is it sort of like not like a charge to the sovereign, not a charge to the sovereign, but like an account to the sovereign or something like that, or a credit to the sovereign? Is that?
Yes, every time you create something, you're creating a credit for yourself. Every time you print a 100, you just credited yourself another 100, and you can create as many hundreds as you want to create from just one of the debt that you take out of you taking it out of circulation and burning the debt and creating a credit. We actually are doing what's called currency exchange, except we're doing the ultimate currency exchange in that we're not just taking it from a different country. We're actually getting rid of the debt and creating credit, which is a credit to your account. Now, nobility, for example, all of the fiduciary money that I've created it's a credit on my. It can be a credit either to a bank account or to a bank card. But again, we're in the process of demonstrating all that we're saying. We know that at law it's proper, it is correct, it's lawful. We know that. We're just demonstrating it. So you credit yourself every time you print. Yeah, and I'll say this too. Most of the subjects and citizens won't really even know the difference. Most of them will not be able to tell the difference between fiduciary money and fiat. Most of them won't be able to tell the difference. But we know. But see, that's the same way it happened in 1933 too. Is some people didn't know the difference. They just knew that the money looked brand new, but it wasn't really money, it was fiat. And so all we're doing is the reverse of that and giving credit, real money. Islam.
Now at this point, it should be abundantly clear that this lady, Light Tajiri Bey, is bat-ish crazy. This woman has just provided evidence for the federal government that she is photocopying money, and she is advising others to do the same thing and to go out in the world and try and spend this money. And she believes that because she burned the original money that she made the photocopies of, that she is good. It is abundantly clear that her instructions that she is given to her Moorish subjects are going to lead them straight to jail. It is mind-blowing to me that people actually listen to this woman and do the things that she is preaching. It is crazy. This woman just burned $160. Now, I know she's not rich, so that was one of the dumbest things that she could have ever demonstrated. And you see her followers are on the call, and they just enjoyed it. They ate it right up. It's absolute madness. This is pure madness. She is loony. She needs to be in a mental facility. How the simple fact that she is leading other people shows that the people that she is leading probably have the intelligence level of grade school children, because any intelligent adult can see that this lady is out of her mind and she is no one to be following. Just look at, you could see the look on her face when she was burning the money. Mentally, she is not all upstairs. She is not the sharpest pencil in the box. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the effect of a high dosage of Moorish science. And my advice to anyone is to not listen to anything that this woman has just taught, and stay far away from her, stay far away from Moorish science. Don't do Moorish science. If you follow her, you will be in a jail cell. That is the inevitable. You will wind up in a jail cell.